Good evening, Fernwood. It is your slightly confused comrade Neil, and it's time for us to straighten things out with another episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Today we are watching episode 186 from December 20th, 1976. We have some technical difficulties which have led me to watch the episodes slightly out of order, but I'm going to present them to you in the order they were planned, only it just confounds my ability to recap quite so well because I've seen all of the episodes of last week except for Friday. As I record this greeting, I'm about to watch the Friday, but I'm just going to switch our orders, and that's why I'm wearing the same shirt, and the hat will help me hopefully remember which introduction goes with which episode. We'll see. I'm very confused, but I'll work this out. You won't have to worry about anything. Let me recap last week, except for the Friday, which is that Tom has been spending money that Mary is not comfortable with. He's been spending way more money. He bought some property that Mary is hoping that he can back out of. Of course, it's too late. Kathy is giving up the baby to the Adamses, and she wants the baby to have a good, wealthy, privileged home, but also feels like guilt because she's giving up the baby to them. Wanda and Merle are heading toward their marriage, though it seems a bit ambivalent on both parts. Garth has been increasingly abusive toward Pat. I don't know where that ends because I think we're going to see a scene with them in Friday's episode, which I haven't seen yet. Martha, Mary, and Detective Johnson have been trying to hone in on the mysterious Big Honey, and that is all I'm able to recap for you from last week based on my momentary confusion. Thanks for watching with me, and let's start this new week of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
I'm terribly sorry. It's just that there's no room. You know, I mean, I went to a lot of trouble. I don't know if you had a chance to check out the spread.
Listen, everyone. I am terribly embarrassed.
No, whatever she embarrasses, I'm more embarrassed.
Hi there.
No, we missed you so much.
Better late than never.
I know you won't believe this. I wrote it down on the calendar, because it's a big day. And what I did is I put it on the wrong date there. So that's
Merle, it's okay.
Okay.
Happens to everybody. Yeah. Okay.
Listen, folks, listen. I have to get to a funeral. Could we rush this a little bit?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Where do you want me to?
Okay, you stand here. Come here. You stand here, and you take my place next to
All right.
Wanda.
Right here?
Okay, yeah. You stand right here, and I think we'll be fine now. I think everything will be ready, okay? Is everybody ready now? Okay, everybody's ready. It's going to be fine. Okay, you can go ahead. Oh, excuse me. 1 second, Merle. By the way, I'm Wanda's father. Go ahead, Reverend.
Dearly beloved.
Excuse me, Reverend. I have written here a little speech of my own. It's a gift of mine to the beloved couple. It's like a non-traditional ceremonial speech that expresses, a lot of how I feel about how a ceremony should be written. I just hope you can read my handwriting.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered together to join in
Semi-holy.
semi-holy wedlock.
Yeah, semi-holy, that was just, Merle believes in the separation of the church and state, right? That was, go ahead, Reverend.
Join in semi-holy wedlock this person and this person?
What do you mean, because of the person? Oh, folks, let me tell you something. The Reverend is upset here because I said this person and this person as opposed to this man and this man. Now, let me explain this. I feel that this man and this woman, my feeling is this man and this woman is a very sexist remark. That's my feeling. I did it for you, Wanda. Wanda doesn't believe in sexism. So, that was why that happened. Go ahead.
If there are any here present who know why this person and this person should not be married, let him just shut up.
Yeah, that's for me. That was for me, everybody. That's just my belief. I don't believe in interfering, in other people's marriage. That's all.
Will you, Merle, love, honor, and cherish Wanda?
I'll try my best.
You're supposed to say, I will.
No, sir.
You'll have to excuse me, your Reverend Doctor. Now, I know you hate me by now, but it's very important that he said what he just said, because that's the truth. That's the very important part of the ceremony.
That's right.
Do you, Wanda, forgive Merle his many transgressions?
Do I have a choice?
You see, now that's the truth. That's really the truth.
Oh. I now pronounce you wife and husband and wife.
Okay, now that was for equal billing. That was for equal billing with the two. Okay, now hurry up and kiss now. This is my favorite part. Everybody, I just want to tell you, excuse me, this is one of my favorite parts. Okay, so you two kiss now. Kiss, come on.
Oh, promise me that someday you and I will meet together way up in the sky.
So if it's all right with you, Mom, Tom and I'll just spend the night here.
I can't understand why Wanda and Merle are spending their wedding night at your house.
Well, Mom, the paint in their new apartment isn't dry yet.
That's what they told Tom.
Well, then why don't they go out there to Howard Johnson's there on the turnpike, you know, and get a room? That's where George and I spent our wedding night.
Oh, really? How many flavors of ice cream did you try?
Oh, Mary. None.
Look, Mom, Mary just thought that for their first night, you know, it'd be nice to have the privacy of a house.
You didn't leave Heather there to watch, did you?
No, she wanted to stay at Trudy's. I'm really glad that Merle and Wanda are staying at the house. I really am. That's a very special bed, unless it collapses.
I don't want to interrupt, Martha, but I was looking for Mr. Hartman.
Oh, what can I do for you, HV?
Oh, we're getting ready to go in for the kill.
Who are you going to kill?
What I mean is we have a hot tip and we're ready to break up the ring.
You mean the prosty ring?
Yes, ma'am.
There we go again, talking about hookers. Seems as if that is the only thing that people talk about anymore.
We can stop the talk and all the action. All we need is a decoy. Someone who is willing to get into the thick of things. Someone who isn't connected with the Force.
You want Tom to get thick with the prosties? Would you like to do that, Tom? Do you think you'd like to get thick with the prosties?
Well, I'll do what I can.
Now, you know, Tom, you can get very badly hurt in a ring like that. You know what I mean? I mean, if a ring of prosties gets mad at you, watch out. Maybe I better go along with him for protection. He has so little experience in this area, you know what I mean? You want to come along too, Ma? We can make like a whole little family gathering out of this.
No, I am sick to death of prostitutes, and I am never going to be a hooker again as long as I live.
Well, HV, let's go.
I don't feel it's a proper place for your wife, Mr. Hartman.
Listen to me, HV, big fella. If there's one place in the whole wide world a wife should be, it is with her husband when he is about to plunge headfirst into a barrel of prosties.
And when he and the rest of us are about to discover at long last the identity of Big Honey.
Let's go, men.
Mary, honey, your purse.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ma. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later.
No, I'll tell you what's funny. What's funny is how well you get to know somebody once you get intimate with them. Great. That is really great cheese.
You are mucho macho. Hey, why don't we go back upstairs and have another try at that brass ring.
I thought you caught the brass ring last time out.
I did. But this time, I'm going to scratch the surface and see if there's any gold underneath.
That's strange, Wanda. You ever notice how strange it is sometimes when you're talking like this and you get to where everything you say almost has like a double meaning, another meaning. It's like it's what they call a double entender.
This is no double entender, big boy. There is only one thing on my mind. Let's go back to bed. Come on. Aren't you coming?
Hey, listen. If you don't mind now, I want to tell you something here.
Okay.
I have found in my life that I somehow get some kind of a unique pleasure out of just savoring things sometimes. So if you don't mind, I would like to just sit here for a couple of minutes and just savor.
Oh, Merle, that's lovely. Merle, I know that you have been with an awful lot of women in your time.
Wanda, please, not that many.
How many?
Oh, gosh. Well, you figure one relationship a week, that's 50 a year. Times 20 years, that's 1,000, but you got to remember that them one-nighters, they kind of cancel out the really serious relationships. I mean, the ones that last 4 or 5 days.
Well, what I want to know is, could a man like you really ever be satisfied with only one woman?
I think so. Don't forget, darling, that you're like at least 1,000 different women I've known, all rolled up into one.
Oh, thank you, darling. Come on up soon, okay?
You bet. I'm just going to sit here doing a little savoring, work on that there string cheese a little bit, okay? Then I'll be right up. Hey. Be sure and save me a place right there, right up close next to you, okay? I'm close.
You're on.
Okay. Breaker 1-9er. This is numero uno. You got your listening ears on there, Big Honey? Over.
This here's Big Honey, numero uno. What's happening?
Hey there. Well, I'm having quite a time here. I got married today,
And you spend your wedding night modulating?
No, I'm just taking a little break.
Where's your bride now?
She's getting a little sack time. I think she's pretty well wore out, poor thing. I'm just sitting here all alone, just kind of eating some cheese.
You sound like you might be hungry. How about you get yourself over here to Grassett's Easy Terms Mortuary?
Say what?
Grassett's Easy Terms Mortuary.
You got to be putting me on.
That's negatorio numero uno. This is the perfect spot. No complaints from the people in the next room. Scream, groan, weep. There's no noise that wakes them up. What do you say?
Hold it there a second. I say okay, big honey. I'll be right over.
Oh, one more thing.
What's that?
Bring your wallet.
My wallet?
They only gave out free lunches during the Depression, sucker. Look, if you don't want to come over.
No. Listen, that sounds okay by me. I'll be right on over.
That's affirmative. 10-4.
Yeah, I'll see you soon. This is numero uno. Clear?
Well, I thought I heard you talking to someone.
Yeah, you did. Will you believe that I have got to go out? Out?
You're going out on our wedding night?
Yeah, duty calls, darling.
What kind of a duty?
Civic
Well,
duty.
Merle.
Now, Wanda, you got to remember now, I promised the citizens of Fernwood that I would always keep their interests right there ahead of mine, remember?
What can you do for the citizens of Fernwood at this hour of night?
I don't know. This is kind of a nature that I can't even disclose that to you. I mean, you got to remember that a public office is like a public trust, baby, you know? Now, this particular citizen here is trusting me to perform a service, so that's it, okay?
All right. I guess I'll just get used to sharing you with the citizens of Fernwood.
Hey, that's great, Wanda. Really, I couldn't have said it better myself, really.
Well, drive carefully, honey, and don't forget your wallet.
What?
Well, you know, in case you run out of gas.
Oh, no. Hey, don't ever worry about that. I never run out of gas. Never. Honey, you got any cash on you at all?
Annie, are you awake?
Oh, Wanda, come in.
I just didn't know if you'd still be up or not.
Oh, sure. I was just writing a letter to one of my kids. Oh, you look beautiful. But what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be home? This is the big night.
I know. Oh, poor Merle. Being a public official is a 24-hour day job. And would you believe it? Tonight, of all nights, he gets called out. And I happen to know he is very exhausted.
Wanda, is everything okay?
Okay. Perfect is the word. Oh, Annie, Merle is... Oh, what can I say? I guess I just didn't realize what I was missing all these years. I have never felt so fulfilled. You know, for the first time in my life, I guess I really realize what it feels like to be a woman.
Oh, I told you everything would work out.
I'm so lucky.
Oh, and I'm so happy for you.
Oh, Annie, where the hell do you suppose he is?
Wanda.
Annie, this is our wedding night. How could he do this to me? When he said he was saving it for our wedding night, it never occurred to me he was saving it for someone else.
Well, now, you don't know that he's with somebody else.
Oh, what else could it be? God knows he's not shy. Oh, Annie, what am I going to do?
Well, first of all, you're going to stop jumping to conclusions.
I haven't felt so lonely since the first time I went to the dentist without my mother.
Oh, you have your friends, and we all love you.
Annie, there are some times when friendship just isn't enough. I mean, the arm around the shoulder and the pat on the back just don't make it.
I know what you mean. There have been times in my life when I felt I couldn't depend on anyone I knew.
What did you do about it?
I found someone new to depend on. The world is filled with all kinds of people, Wanda. I stopped expecting anyone to be responsible for my happiness. It's too much to ask of anyone, and it never works out.
You know, I know what you mean. I have done that all of my life. I've always placed this tremendous burden on anyone I ever cared for. That's what happened with Jojo Spinelli.
And he couldn't handle the burden, huh?
Oh, no, Jojo was a she. She was my counselor at summer camp.
Oh, well, we all fall in love with our counselors.
Oh, no, it was more than that. No, Jojo saved my life.
Swimming?
No, singing.
Singing?
Well, something like that. You see, there was this nasty, sadistic counselor, not Jojo, but another one who was in charge of talent night. Well, she wanted me to sing Chattanooga Choo Choo. Well, I cannot tell you how the possibility of standing up in front of a crowd of people terrified me. I mean, my legs turned to jelly when anyone said hello to me.
I never had that problem. For a nickel, I'd sing "It's a Sin to Tell a Lie" on any street corner.
Well, anyway, this mean counselor was determined that I was going to sing in this talent show, see. One day, she actually cornered me in my cabin and beat my legs with a broomstick to get me to say I'd do it.
Do you realize the fortune that's being spent in this country by parents sending their kids to camp just to be tortured?
Yeah, I know it. It's awful. Well, anyway, JoJo saved me, see. Well, I'd always had this little crush on her, but, oh, boy, from that day forward, I was madly in love. She was only a couple of years older than I, but I always thought of her as a grown-up lady. I guess it was because she was already saying hell and damn, and she wore an ankle bracelet and shaved her legs.
I fell in love with a girl once called Twyla because she was wearing a starter bra, and I was still wearing an undershirt.
Well, anyway, see, JoJo put her arms around me and started to comfort me. Well, it wasn't the same as when my mother and my grandmother comforted me. It was completely different. And then, all of a sudden, I couldn't catch my breath, and the faint smell of her skin, well, it made me dizzy.
Just the touch of another person to be so wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I tried to tell Mary about it.
Mary? Oh, my God, really? What was her reaction?
She didn't understand what I was talking about. Annie, can I tell you something very strange and very private?
I thought you already had.
This is something that doesn't make any sense, not even to me.
You can tell me anything.
Well, in my whole life, no man has ever excited me like Jojo Spinelli.
Oh, Wanda, you were young and impressionable.
And you want to know something else? You're very much like Jojo, and... Oh, wow. Oh, my cheeks are burning, and I am very embarrassed.
You don't have to be embarrassed. There's no reason to be. You're just a little confused.
Yes, I am, and I'm sorry. I'm very confused, and I really have to leave. Merle might be coming back.
You don't have to go because of anything you've said. There's nothing wrong, really.
No, I really think it's best if I leave. I'm feeling a little peculiar. You know, when I eat peppers, sometimes I get heartburn, and it makes me very lightheaded. I'm feeling like that now, and I haven't even eaten any peppers.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I think that's what I'm thinking.
Are you ready for anything like that?
I wish I were. Look, thanks for being so understanding.
Thanks for confiding in me.
Oh, yes, well, good night, and...
Good night, Wanda.
Yeah. There are so many emotions I am feeling right now, and that's a very unusual set of combinations. It's like a whole palette of paints of emotions that are just mixed together, and underneath the yellow you see the red, and underneath the red you see green. There's just a lot going on, and yowza. So we are at the wedding, and Merle is late. Merle shows up, and Mary has a speech that she has written, and it's definitely not heterosexist. So very progressive for the time to allow for two people to be married together. You know, the vocabulary's come a little bit in the time since then, but still pretty new for many people. But to think of this in the 1970s, that two people, this person and this person, maybe it's a little clunky, but the meaning is there, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate as well that Mary honors the honesty of what is said. However, the honesty is pretty uneven. Merle says, "Do I have to?" Or no, I'll try as much as I can, which isn't so much of a commitment. And Wanda says, do I have to forgive him? I think that's what, I forgot exactly. It's been at least 30 minutes, or no, 20 minutes since I saw the scene, but yeah. And then they have their first kiss on screen. And then we cut next door where Martha and Mary and Tom are post-wedding, figuring out what's going on. And of course, because there's no budget for sets in this show, the wedding night is going to be at Tom and Mary's house. The most constant set on this show, of course. But then HB shows up and says it's time to go find Big Honey, and enlists Tom to join in this. And Tom is like just a bystander. I don't think he understood what Mary and Martha were doing, because that was a crazy plan there. Tom says that he is ready to help as much as he can, and Mary goes with him, and of course forgets her purse, but then goes back to get it, which was a cute little touch. And then we cut over to the wedding night, post-coital, with Merle and Wanda and string cheese, which was one of my favorite 1970s things. I still enjoy some string cheese from time to time. I try not to eat so much cheese, but sometimes you gotta have some string cheese, and that stuff is holy to me. Unlike their matrimony, which was only semi-holy. It's clear that Merle is hiding something from Wanda. And I think it's more complex, but maybe not. But that he doesn't want to go up to bed with her again. And hey, everyone's got a specific sexual appetite, but this is a secret. Right? So like when Merle says that he wants to savor things, that if that were honest, that'd be great. You know, and Wanda would accept that. Or should accept that. Not everyone is the same, but we should not expect every man to have just constant boners all the time, as we often imagine that they should have. Merle puts off going up to bed, and then as Wanda goes up to save some space for him, again, he is manipulating her. He goes to the CB and knows exactly who to call. Big Honey, Breaker 19, Breaker 19. Maybe a couple weeks ago, he first heard Big Honey's voice on the CB in Annie's trailer, and he picked up what was going on. And we know that Merle last season had issues with going to brothels. They never said the word, but we know that they were. And apparently that is his thing, which might need a conversation with Wanda, since they are married. Though it should be clear that there was an agreement between them that Merle could sow his oats, so to speak. But this seems completely inconsiderate of Wanda's feelings, and that's where it hurts me. So you have an open relationship, sure. It's a one-sided open relationship. I guess if that floats your boat, go for it. But one-sided that completely disregards the feelings of one of the partners, that's just hurtful. And that's what happens. And Merle lies to Wanda, and you know Wanda is seeing through it. Absolutely, because the next scene happens. And of course, Merle throws away that string cheese, which bothered me so badly. Just now, I mean, when I was watching. And then Wanda goes to Annie for consolation. She knows that there's that connection as well, and they share their histories a little bit of their same-sex attractions of the past. And Wanda is very clear that Merle is not with her and with someone else on their wedding night, which, if you're gonna get married, definitely don't do it that way. The connection between Wanda and Annie is really clear. And it ends with a light kiss, but that kiss, I think, is more tender than anything that Merle and Wanda have shared. And I'm remembering now that Wanda is very clear that she feels more attraction for women than for men, which fair, though it maybe could have been talked about a bit more beforehand, but you know how characters on this show discover things. So we have some things to look out for, and something I didn't mention was from the show, when Big Honey was talking to Merle, she asked him to go to the mortuary, and I finally think I recognized the voice of Big Honey, and I kind of don't want to spoil it, but you might have put some clues together based on my recap and maybe my reaction, but we will have to see where that goes. We will have to wait and see till next week when Tom, Mary, and HB converge on Big Honey, and Merle is of course with Big Honey as we speak. But I mentioned some news, and that was something I literally saw on my phone right as I sat down to record this episode. So, you know, it's a little while back because I shoot ahead. The Mary Hartman remake has a home. It's going to be airing on TBS. I didn't see a date, but that's where it's going to go up. I imagine in the fall sometime. So we may not be finished with Good Evening Fernwood, but hey, we may have some new friends joining if that show picks up and gets popular. So we'll see how that goes. You now know where to find the upcoming series. I'll let you look for the news. And please don't spoil me on it. I will only skim the articles to find dates. I don't want to know what's going to happen in this show, because I'll do my best to watch it when I am able to. Anyway, that was my little bit of news about the upcoming show, but oh wow, what a weekend episode. Next week, we are heading into the pre-Christmas week. There is an episode scheduled for December 24th, and I only know that because the DVD set says so. So, yeah, that's going to be the Friday. I don't know if that means anything, although I know they've been including Christmas trees in the set and some Christmas presents we've seen to put under those trees. So I expect that they are planning ahead. So, yeah. That's been our week here. I think that was week 11. I've lost track at this point. I'll correct this if I need to. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your feelings in the comments. Thank you for taking a little rest with me. And we will see you next week in Fernwood.